Unreal. Wonder Day. Well, what's the crack? Hope we're all good. We are back on YouTube. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Owen McCabe. I run the GA Performance Academy, which is an online coaching program for GA players across Ireland. And I also play football for Antrim and my clubs and goals in Belfast. If you haven't seen the recent videos, go back, check them out, and I explain that in a bit more detail there and a bit more about my journey. So we're here today. We are going to run through a rehab session and I suppose just get a bit of a catch up of where we've been over the last couple of months. I think it was maybe August. I think it was August was the last video, so there's been plenty happening in between. But where we are now, we're currently second day of May, just into May. So the league campaign is done with Antrim. Bit of a frustrating league campaign myself personally. Over the last few while, been struggling with injuries, especially my hamstring tendon. Got an MRI before Christmas because it had been annoying me for so long, and turns out I had actually tore the hamstring tendon. So frustrating couple of months trying to get that right, and then probably rushed back too soon to try and make it back for our Ulster Championship game against Down. So probably built up the load very, very quickly, ended up feeling sore. Not back to square one, but other niggles coming as a result, and it was just frustrating trying to run about, and it was maybe 70-80% fit, and you're marking people that are absolutely flying. It was just, I wasn't doing myself or the team any favours. So where we are now, we're taking the time to get it right, working with Alice Locken, a physio, a live physio and rehab. Check it out. She basically stripped it right back to basics, focusing on getting the body right and actually taking the time to get the body right now so that we can get back as close to 100% as possible. So plan now, we are in the middle of the season, so we're just waiting on Towson Cup to get up and running. We have a couple of weeks until that comes around. In my head, I'm very optimistic that I'm still going to get some game times in the group stage, but I have a session with Alice next week and she might tell me different, so we'll see what the crack is. In terms of like mindset around the injury this time around, like in the past I would have been very much like, right, give me a timeline, we're working towards that. But just with the nature of the injury, it's been going on 3-4 years and the progress has just been pretty frustrating. It's been up and down, to be honest. So there is no timeline on it. Like this time around, it's literally take the time, get it right, and progress it as we see fit week to week. So personally, it's a bit annoying when I don't have like a timeline, but at the same time, I've been pissed off and frustrated with it long enough that it's just time I got it right and just do the work essentially. So that's the crack. Worst case scenario, I'll maybe miss the rest of the county season, get back for club season, which I'll be, as long as I'm playing football again, I'll be happy enough. And even last year, I didn't get to give the club too much because of the injury, and just with the way the season ran on, I think I only got like 4.5 games for the club. So yeah, if we get the body right to get back firing and get to go back and play well there, then I'll be more than happy. So that's the plan at the minute. So lessons from this process over the last few while is I would have been very guilty of just playing through pain and just trying to perform as much as I can and just get myself right in between games and just whatever it is, getting the head down, being pretty stubborn with it and just trying to play regardless. So lesson has been, one, get yourself right. You know, even when you're playing, if you're putting your hand up to play, and even if you're not 100%, you're going to be judged as if you are 100%. The manager's going to think you're 100%, your opponents are going to think you're 100%, and you're going to be judged as if you are. So if you're caught out by someone who is 100% and you're maybe 7, 8, 9 out of 10 not fully ready, they're not going to see that essentially. The other side of it is from the rehab side of things, like the big thing is actually getting to the cause of why it's happening. There's been different approaches I've tried in the past where it's been very much just, right, get this area strong, get this area strong. But if you're getting that area really strong and the same things are happening over and over again, like the chances are it's probably how you move is causing the issues. So that's where you'll see when we go into the rehab session here, we do a lot of work around the hips, the feet, the back even, just to try and take pressure off certain areas so certain areas aren't overloaded and we're actually moving efficiently and effectively. So yeah, certain tissues aren't overloaded, and that's probably what was causing a lot of the hamstring trouble. So yeah, got a coffee in this, heading to Gym Co here and getting the rehab session in. Thursdays usually we have team training in the evening, so my plan would be a double day originally, but our schedule changed this week. So yesterday I had a double day, did rehab in the morning and bike in the evening. Normally that would be the case today, but yeah, today was the night off, so gonna enjoy a night on the sofa watching a bit of Netflix. So yeah, rehab session now and chill out later on. Oh. Like a slingshot there. Pork, let's crack, all good. We'll go warm up over here and then just jump into the rack after. Sweet. Right, so getting stuck into the rehab session here. As I was saying earlier, a lot of the work that I'm doing is focused around the feet, the hips, back, just really tidying up movement patterns, because whatever way I have been moving, it hasn't been working. With the hamstring, with the hips, Achilles been playing up, whatever way my feet are moving hasn't been working, so that's the focus with Alice, is just getting all those wee areas cleaned up, strengthened up, and then just making my overall movement a lot better, a lot more efficient, so I'm not picking up injuries and overloading certain areas. So starting off, like, first one is just like a pronation drill. So literally all my weight on my back leg, and literally just sliding this knee forward, and then as I move forward, just trying to get the pattern of my foot, so the inside of my foot's trying to flatten into the floor, and just trying to let that happen naturally without sort of just folding in. So with 2 sets of 8 each side in this, so it's literally just trying to push the knee as far forward as I can, and then the foot sort of flattens on the inside. Sweet, so next, so obviously focusing on the feet and ankles there. Next we're going like a side glide, knee to knee. So again, focusing on the hips, focusing on internal, external rotation, just trying to create space in the hips to allow me to get into positions a whole lot easier. That's obviously one of the big things with the hamstring, is just fucking hips aren't doing their job. So with this one, 90 degrees, sliding the top knee forward and then pushing it away from the bottom knee, pushing the feet into the wall, and then from here trying to get the bottom knee to touch the top knee. So it's deep breath in and then on the breath out, try and drive them together. Trying to drive them together without moving the top knee. If you get any movement here, you're doing well. Sweet. So 2 sets of that, back into the foot pronation, another set of them, and then we'll be on to the next one. Right, so obviously load of hamstring trouble and a hamstring tendon trouble. So best thing for the tendons is loading them. But obviously my problem was jumping back into training too soon and overloading them too much too soon. So they went from nothing to 100% right away, and anything's going to break down when you do that. So especially with tendons, they're so sensitive, so you want to gradually build up the load. And one of the easiest ways to do that is isometrics. So this is what I'm literally doing every day. So 2 boxes or 2 benches, and literally just shoulders on one and then heel on the other, Focus on keeping the ribs down, keeping the lower back nice and quiet, driving the heel into the bench, and then really squeezing the glutes and just building up that tension, holding for 30 seconds each side. So I'll do, recently I haven't been able to do any weight until the last couple of sessions, so I'll do 1 set body weight just to get it warmed up, and then second, third set add a wee bit more weight each time. So first one's usually sore, and then second one a wee bit less sore, third one a wee bit less sore, but there was a stage there, no matter how much of these I did, it was just constantly sore, and then I was like, right, something needs to change here. Right, so a bit of weight this time, exact same thing, so again, driving through the heel, 30 seconds, keeping the hips high without really pushing through the lower back, trying to keep the rib cage down, lower back nice and quiet, and just constant tension through the hamstring and the glute. Sort of time slows down here as well. Happy enough, so one more set of them and then we'll get into the fun stuff. That's one of the things with rehab, like it can be monotonous and boring as fuck at times, but it's just that sort of stuff, it just has to be done. So going for deficit reverse lunge, just get a bit more range. I've been doing reverse lunges for a while, and then this is the first time they've been programmed in with a deficit, so nice wee challenge. Did the other day, felt the glutes on fire, like so. Yeah, just nice wee change, more range. Need wing mirrors and them things. So reverse lunge compared to, it's literally the same movement as a back squat, but it's just so much easier to get into. So with the way my sort of lower back is, so I'm very like tilted at the hips, and whenever I get into a back squat, that's the same thing. So rib cage flares up, lower back tilts, and just all the pressure goes through lower back, which I'm trying to come away from. And obviously there's that much tension and the lower back's constantly being overused. Hamstrings are going to take a lot of the force, and when that translates into running as well, hamstrings are taking a lot of the strain. So as we're saying, a lot of it's about sort of posture, where the pelvis is, rib cage, and the reverse lunge, just especially with the safety bar as well, just get into a far more comfortable position. And if you look at the pattern of a reverse lunge, it's literally like a single leg back squat as well. So and it feels class in the hamstring. So anyone with hamstring tendon issues, give the reverse lunge a go and tell me how good it feels in the hamstrings compared to the likes of a squat or an RDL or a chop bar deadlift. So again, I was saying about the rib cage position, you can clearly see here just with the hands in front. It's not up here if my hands are behind me. You can keep that sort of tucked. So nice control down, drive up. Sweet. So in between we have foam roller bridge and slouch and split squat as well. So with this, big thing is like working on co-contraction. So you're getting calf, hamstring, glute all sort of working at the same time. So mid-foot pressure. That's just a very slight movement. So big thing for me, like, because I go into this arch a lot, I like almost go into it and then come out of it, just to sort of cue myself to keep the ribs tucked down. And then from here, pushing through the midfoot. This knee will help keep the rib cage down, keep the pelvis tucked under, sort of roll under that way. And then it's literally just driving through the midfoot and just ever so slightly lifting the hips off the floor. Do you feel that tension building up? And then when you're pressing through the midfoot, you can feel the calf, you can feel the hamstring, you can feel into the glute, all lighten up. And again, just 30-second hold, 3 sets each side. And then next up, slouch and split squat. So again, co-contraction stuff. With the Achilles flaring up, big thing is obviously how the feet are hitting the ground, how the feet are sort of moving. So I was looking at myself running, and a lot of the time it was very like toey. So calves, Achilles, going to take a lot of the hammering. So with the slouch, it's literally loading up that front part of the foot, folding over the upper body, nice and floppy here, curved back the whole time, and we're literally just sitting down into it. Come back onto the heel to start, but then as we're pushing up, push through that middle part of the foot, heel slightly off the floor, keeping this knee forward, really drive through the floor, trying to squeeze the glute and push the hips forward the whole time. So you see that the knee's not just snapping back, so we're keeping that forward. Slouch down, press, press. I should be fighting to get that hip even more forward. And it's burning. Burning. So one thing about that, like, it looks ridiculous. Like some of the stuff you're doing, especially when it comes to S&C, a lot of the fancier stuff, like you're doing sprint drills, you're doing different plyos, like you may come into a public gym like this, jumping about, doing different movements like that, and you probably feel like a bit of a idiot doing it. But a lot of my clients would say the same thing, and sometimes be like apprehensive to go and do something because of someone's maybe watching them or bringing a camera into the gym to go and look at this fella here. But two things, like one, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to become. Like initially, the thought of this, I was going, I'm not bringing a camera into the gym. But literally nobody gives a like you might have one or two people looking, going, what's going on, but nobody gives a is the main thing. And secondly, like if you're letting what other people think hold you back, like you're giving more power to that person. So like, listen, you're going to go out the door, you probably never see half the people again, so it's just like, it. If it's going to get you moving forward, then don't be letting other people's opinions hold you back from doing that. Just to recap then, so 3 sets of each. 3 sets of 8 on the deficit reverse lunge, 3 sets of 30 seconds on the foam roller bridge, and then 2 sets of 5 on the slouch and split squat then. With the reverse lunge, going to up the weight here a bit and see how we get on. If you're contemplating upping the weight, like if you take an honest assessment, there's 2 things. One is like video yourself, have a look at it, and if the weight is flying up and it's handy enough, you need to up the weight. Second thing is look at what the coach has probably prescribed for you. The way they give you like a rating out of 10, like how hard it is, maybe like 7, 8 or 9 out of 10. And if you're coming away from like an 8 out of 10 and you're thinking, that was handy, could have done another 5 reps, you need to up the weight. So you'll probably know yourself, like the more advanced you get and the more experience you get, you'll probably know if you have a bit more in the tank, but 9 times out of 10 you always have more in the tank, so up the weight. In between sides as well, so anything single leg, single arm. Give yourself a wee bit of a break just to keep the quality high. It's not like a full 2-3 minute rest, it's not the end of a set, but just 10 to 30 seconds, get the breath back. Make sure that you keep the quality for the other side. So you'd rather have 2 good sets, 2 good sides, rather than one side being class and the other side being a bit and because of fatigue kicking in. So break it up a wee bit. So you probably noticed there, I had shoes on for the reverse lunge and then shoes off for the foam roller bridge and the slouch and split squat. Because you're working on your foot pressure and you're working on similar to the pronation stuff I was doing at the start, it's like you're trying to get certain areas of your feet like pushed into the ground. So it's just to feel it a wee bit more, feel a wee bit of a better connection, and you're less likely to try and like come out of that sort of pressure. So then something else is taking over. So it all comes back to the movement quality and the same issues that are creating the injuries of the niggles. It's probably because I might be rolling my foot out a certain way or the way my foot's hitting the ground. So it's just really trying to dial those wee things in and just drill them as much as possible. So like even through it, like right away there, I felt lower back was starting to feel a little bit. I was like, right, I'm pushing too much with the lower back. So again, just tuck the ribs, push harder with the foot into the foam roller. And you're using the feet and the hamstrings, the glutes to lift yourself up rather than just extending the hips up. Pretend he doesn't know the camera's on him. Bradzo. We'll tag you, mate. We'll drop you a tag on the YouTube, mate. I'll stick your Instagram handle on. So even here, we're talking about foot pressure, same thing. Like so much, I just want to roll onto the outside of my foot. So trying to keep that big toe even pressed into the floor too. Just gives a far stronger push. Even that last one didn't want to, almost like pushed back out of it. One more set, foam roller bridge, and then on to the next bit. So hamstring slider here. I've got the mindset, I got the hamstrings tested last time I was in Realis, and there was like a 53% difference between left and right. So I forgot to mention that at the start. So if you're running about with a 50% imbalance, one side's obviously going to be taking up a lot more of the work. And that's obviously what's causing the Achilles issues then. So if this left hamstring is 50% weaker than this right hamstring, it's not going to be doing a lot. This right side's going to be working a lot harder. So a lot of the work is actually just left side focused to try and bring up that bit of weakness as well. So hamstring slider, same thing, keeping the hips rolled under, keeping the rib cage down in that glute bridge position, and then just slow and controlled out. And then back in, going for 8 reps here. Okay. And then next up, this is with Copenhagen plank. So focused on hips, adductors. Copenhagen, 3 different ways you can do it. You can start knee bent on the bench, sort of like shin or like mid knee on the bench, just making the lever a wee bit longer, or else foot on the bench makes it harder again. So 3 sets, 30 seconds each side here. Just making sure that we've straight line from ankle, knee, hip, shoulders, keeping the hips pushed forward, squeezing the foot into that bench as hard as I can. So that's about, what, 20 seconds ago? Okay. Bench is a bit annoying that you can't squeeze the 2 legs together straight, but it is what it is. You can even see there, trying to squeeze the legs together, one leg falling away from the other one. There's fatigue setting in there and just can't create that squeeze. Something to work on, weak point. So 3 sets of this, 2 sets of the sliders. It's the bottom leg, nearly more than the top leg. Top leg's not too bad because you can push into something, but trying to squeeze the bottom leg together, just fatigue kicks in big time. So one of the questions I got asked last week was, is 1 gym session enough in season for GA players? In theory, yes. It's going to keep you topped up in terms of your strength and your power work, but some of the rehab type stuff that you've probably seen me doing here, like you can take that work and work bits and pieces of that in throughout the week, even on a daily basis. Working in your warm-ups or working in your recovery days. So a bit of TLC for the hamstrings, the calves and the hips, and then using that one big gym session to work on your strength, work on your power.
And then obviously getting your speed work in before your team training sessions, and maybe wee bits of conditioning if you're not playing the game time that you want. Sweet, so session done, rehab focus session. So as I was saying at the start, lots of work on the foot, the hips, hamstrings, and getting the body moving in a certain way. And you'll probably see like there wasn't too many exercises in there, or there wasn't too many like actual heavy movements. And I think people get caught up in that all the time. They think they have to go into the gym, they have to hit every single body part, they have to hit 2-3 exercises for each part. Or even just the information is like you have to have this, this, and this in, and you're trying to put it all together. Like something's going to have to give somewhere along the line. So having that structure, having that plan, knowing what is essential to get in and what's maybe not too important, rather than just trying to cram everything in together. And like there's so much you can do with, you know, 30, 40, 45 minutes in the gym. Like you don't really need to be in there any longer than 45 to 60 minutes. I suppose the main thing is like making sure that your training and your program complements what you're working towards. So if you're looking to improve your performance on the pitch, you need to train the way you want to perform. So you want to be fast, sharp, explosive, keeping the body happy so that you're actually available to be on the pitch. It's not just about getting as big as possible, although it is nice for the jersey to be nice and tight.
So rehab session done, back home for a bit of food. Going for oats, literally can't go wrong, and it's a lazy option. So all my meals, like I'll not be there cooking a meal any longer than I'd say 20 minutes. So oats, microwave rice, frozen veg, just so quick and easy to throw together. And by the way, oats with water is the only way to have it. Could probably do it on the hob as well, but that's too lazy. GA players need to stop complicating nutrition. Like it's one of the most common questions I get asked is like, what's the best food to eat before a session, after a session, before a game, during a carb load? But I don't think the information is actually the main issue. It's more players just actually sticking to something and following it through. Players probably know by now they need to have 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight, a good amount of carbs in each meal, a good source of healthy fats, and then plenty of fruit and veg in there as well. Like it's pretty straightforward. Just need to stop eating like a child. Bonus tip for me, you want to keep your protein and fats in around the same level throughout the week, and the only thing that really changes is your carbs. So you're eating more carbs around your heavier training days, and you're eating less carbs in the likes of your rest days. Now is that so hard? When you're making protein oats, the biggest problem I see is people putting the protein in before they've made the oats. You have to go porridge first and then put the protein on top of it and then mix it in together. Otherwise it just tastes like chalk. So go-to toppings, oats, chocolate protein powder, banana, some sort of berries, usually blueberries, raspberries, and then we'll finish it with a wee bit of honey. In a bit of a calorie deficit at the minute, so peanut butter is out the window because I go spoonful of peanut butter and then another 2 spoonfuls in the mouth, and it's not good for anyone. So we're going to round off the video here as I finish these. Plans for the rest of the week. We have bike work to get in, we have a bit more rehab work to do, and an extra upper body session. Probably one thing that I didn't cover is when you're injured or when you're not in full team training, it's so important that you don't fall behind. So the likes of the bike work, keeping the conditioning side of things topped up so that when you go back onto the pitch, you're not completely blown out your hole is going to be key. So that's the plan the rest of the week. Got a good session in yesterday, 2 more bike sessions to get in, 1 more rehab session and 1 more upper body session. But other than that, hopefully you enjoyed the video. There's going to be plenty more coming over the coming weeks, or I suppose just going forward. Going to make it a new standard, a new thing, just as I would do on Instagram. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Share it with your teammates, please. Please subscribe, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.